The Auschwitz Jewish Center Foundation is a not-for-profit organization whose mission is to utilize lessons from the Holocaust to fight hatred and bigotry in all forms through educational programs and provide direct humanitarian assistance to victims of mass atrocities and genocide. Your support helps ensure AJCF's vital work to fight anti-Semitism and all forms of hatred through education. They use the lessons of the Holocaust to honor the past and transform the future for generations to come. For all the details and to support the Auschwitz Jewish Center Foundation, visit ajcfus.org. That's ajcfus.org.
This is John D'Agostino with D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm, and I'm proud to be a sponsor and partner of WABC Radio and Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel. God bless America.
I'm attorney Jenna D'Agostino, continuing the legacy my father, John D'Agostino, started 35 years ago.
I grew up on these New York and New Jersey streets. They shaped me. I'm attorney John D'Agostino from D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm.
Call our team first.
888-24-LAW-24. 888-24-LAW-24. D'Agostino. Law Bite Back.
You're my best friend.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
For my friends.
77 WABC.
Cats and Curtis.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Look, I am not bogarting you, John. It's the Cats and Curtis show. You imagine if I were to call a George V. Curtis and Cats, and then I would have to come back and say, no, it's about all the cats I and Nancy saved from the shelters. Had nothing to do with you, boss. Nothing to do with
Well,
you.
in the studio with us, we have George Venizelos. He was with the FBI for, I think, 25, 26, 27 years. And he ended his, he was the head of the New York office, which is the largest FBI office in the country. And he was assistant director of the FBI.
Yeah, in New York, yeah.
And in New York. And tell us, George, there's so many things happening. And we got 25, 26 days left for the election. And there's a big investigation going on by Congress now that will go away if the Republicans lose Congress about foreign money coming into the United States and trying to influence elections, whether it's Chinese money, whether it's Turkish money, whether it's Russian money. There's a lot of money coming in, influencing elections. And I understand that Congress is investigating it, and they turned it over now to 19 attorney general's offices.
Right.
And because they didn't trust to send it to the Department of Justice. I mean, you give us, well, you were with the FBI during the years that everything was great. Right. And there seems to be too much political influence now.
And I think that the foreign influence has quietly been going on for years that nobody wants to talk about because they're being influenced, basically, and it's on both sides. I'm not going to say it's one side or the other. It's both sides. And I think even look at this Adams case, and nobody's even talking about it. It basically started with the Turkish government trying to influence whether our politicians locally. So they're not even doing it on a national level. They're doing it on a local level, too. And the FBI quietly has been looking at this for years and quietly has been lately coming out with a lot of different cases, whether it's the Chinese. They're starting to make quiet grounds on this problem, but nobody wants to talk about it. Why doesn't anybody want to talk about it? I think that these politicians are probably running scared because probably a lot of them are being affected by this. A lot of their funding. It's to be a politician, especially on the national level. It takes a lot of money, and the foreign influence has the money.
Well, George, just on the local level, when I ran for mayor, I was the first Republican to win the Chinese American vote. Not because I did anything outstanding. I had a guy next to me, Phil Wong, who said, stay away from that group of Chinese because that's communist Chinese. They would say CCP. Like they're going to have a rally today for the Taiwanese Chinese in Chinatown. But an average person outside of the community, they have no idea. So here's Eric Adams. He's being in pictures with Chinese communist-supported groups. Hey, they're regular businessmen. They conduct themselves in America. So if you don't have a consigliere guiding you, like don't stay with that Turkish group or Uzbekistan or Azerbaijani or Red Chinese, they've learned the way to control American politics. You don't have to attack us. Right. All you got to do is buy our politicians.
Right. And that's when you look at the different groups, and that's what the Chinese do. They're quietly, most Chinese that come to this country, vast majority, are great for this country. Great people, smart.
They're very hardworking people. They are great people.
But it's the
there's a certain percentage, like in every clan, there's a certain percentage that have a plan, and with the Chinese students going into our universities, being paid for by the government of China, then they have to be loyal to the government of China because I heard, and I don't know if you heard the same thing, that some of them, like let's say he worked at MIT and he's working on sensitive material, they would go to him and say, we want that material, otherwise something's going to happen to your parents back home.
Yeah.
No, and that's what one of the recent cases had here with the Chinese police off sites they had here.
They set up
what their job was.
They set up police departments.
Yes, to harass the citizens who aren't cooperating.
Yeah, but can you imagine this? Yeah. You're in America. You're our guests. You're setting up your own police departments, basically your own KGB, right, to go after your own citizens. I remember there were people making presentations in the Chinese American community, and others would come and watch, take notes, and then report back to their handlers. And they get these red envelopes, which is considered a sign of prosperity, stuffed with American cash.
And I'm telling you, I don't want to pick on the Chinese. You have the Russians, Iranians.
Sure.
You have all these groups, the Turkish.
A lot of people. There's a lot of people like that.
But what's upsetting and what's scary to me, and that nobody is even ever talking about, is they run, whether it's social media, they run all these campaigns. Their main objective is to divide this country. And they've won. They've divided the country. So rather than, they can sit back and watch us kill each other. And that's what we're doing now. We're killing each other. And the media, I blame the media. The media, there's no unbiased media anymore. You watch one station versus another. It's two different Americas. And that's scary. So the foreign influences are winning.
Is it safe to say, by all of these high-profile cases now involving foreign money, what John rightfully calls dark money, that by going after high-profile people, having arrests and prosecutions, it may scare off politicians, number one, to deal with these people, and number two, it may scare off the foreign governments to say, you're not going to be able to bribe our officials and get away with it.
Also, what it also does, it brings the problem to light. It shows the Americans, we got a problem in this country. We need to get behind. We need to get behind the FBI. We need the FBI. They're the group. They're the only group in this country that could stop this or bring light to it. So rather than bash them, we need to get behind them. But what's happening is these politicians, they're scared. Because how many of them are being funded by a lot of this? When you talk about these straw donors.
Straw donors, correct.
Straw donors, the old saying, smoke this fire? You're only going to prove 1% of what, and they're so good at it.
Correct.
So if this, may say, it's only, he only got upgrades, he only did this. That's baloney. There's a lot more to this.
Let's explain it, because I had to deal with running. John had to deal with it, although he was self-funded. He wasn't getting matching funds. Is that you get a guy, a boss, let's say, of a company, foreign company, and he says to his employees, I want you to write a check for $2,100 to this candidate. You get $8 for every $1. And I'll give you the money, plus I'll sweeten it up a little bit. I'll give it to you in cash. Then all of a sudden the campaign finance board starts to review these, and they do random calls to, let's say, Gus Varoufakis, all right? I'm just throwing that name, not suggesting it's a Greek, right? Hey, Gus, I see you made out a check to Eric Adams in this case for $2,100 matchable. Right. Eric who? Yeah. The guy who was the man. I didn't make out a check. So then they start, like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire. And some of these companies do this, and that's called a straw donor, which is illegal. Right. But plus, you're using the public taxpayers' money. And I think that's why Team Adams is in trouble now with straw donor. But they're not alone. There are others.
Yeah, because a lot of that gets matched, right, in New York City?
Yeah.
So basically, for every straw donor that you get double.
Eight to one match.
Yes, 8 to 1. I mean, it's taxpayer money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, John.
That's taxpayer money. I mean, that's wrong.
The cold winter weather is coming, and the team at Peerless Boilers, they're ready to help you prepare for this season. It's time to make sure your home is nice and warm for the cold weather. Save loads of money on your fuel bill. Do it now before it's too late and you've got a mess on your hands. Start thinking about replacing your old beast of a boiler with a new high-efficiency Peerless Boiler. Go to peerlessboilers.com, pop in your zip code, and you'll find a dealer near you. Remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers, and proud sponsor of Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel. You know, folks, the whole world is talking about Bitcoin. Want to know why? Maybe it's because Bitcoin rose in value over 150% last year, and this is just the beginning. Bitcoin is online investing that anyone can do. Visit bitcoinuniversity.org today. Take a master class. Download the Book of Bitcoin and take your investment portfolio to the next level. Visit bitcoinuniversity.org and discover all that a Bitcoin can do for you. That's bitcoinuniversity.org, bitcoinuniversity.org.
John didn't have to worry. He was self-funded. It was all his money. But there are other folks like myself, without the match, you can't run.
And then if you don't have what they have, this foreign stuff coming in, you can't compete.
Yes.
And they know that. And that's what the countries know that. They know.
Could you imagine having the
bought.
Treasury of the United States funding elections?
Well, now, speaking of the Treasury, nobody has talked about our massive debt in this campaign.
Forget about it.
$35 trillion.
Forget about it.
Growing.
Let's get the election done.
And, yeah, I know, but the foreigners own a lot of that debt.
Of course they do.
Nobody wants to talk about that. Both sides just keep adding to the debt. Like, don't worry about it. $35 trillion. It'll be $50 trillion by 2035.
Yeah.
Listen, all I want is honest elections. One American citizen, one vote. Look what's happening in Arizona.
Absolutely.
98,000 possibly non-citizen voters are on the voter log. Now, 98,000 might not sound like a lot, but Trump lost Arizona by 10,000. Kari Lake lost it by 17,000. So when you talk about losing it by 10,000, 98,000 non-kosher voters is a lot.
Well, when you get a license now, because a lot of states allow you to be an illegal alien and get a license, you're immediately signed up to vote. Now, it's up to you to check the box that says, I'm not permitted. Come on. Now, most are not going to do it. Right. But you begin to organize some and say, hey, you're registered to vote. Right. Put you on a bus, visit a polling site, you go in. You give your name, right? You don't have to provide ID in a lot of these states. Remember, no ID. You just say, my name. They see, oh, yeah, I see you're registered to vote, motor voter. And then they vote. And they could, as John said, especially in these battleground states where you have a lot of illegals, a few thousand vote could alter the election.
Now, for the federal, especially the presidential elections, it needs to be a federal standard for every state. This has got to change. Because we want to get back to the days when, we believe in democracy. Whoever wins, you get behind. That's not the way it is now.
Why? I mean,
nobody gets behind the winner anymore.
Who has taken over the Democratic Party, George? I mean, it seems like the common sense Democrats are scared of whoever's in control of the Democratic Party.
I know, and I think that's one of the things that really bothers me the most. Why are you letting the minority part of the party, the extremism of the party, kind of run the party, and why are you afraid of the extremism? We're a moderate country. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, we're Americans first. But that's not the way it is anymore. We're party first now. They care more about the party and winning elections than making this country better. The border makes no sense, opening the border. No sense at all. So So when you have that happening, you have the increase in terrorism risk, crime risk. You have like what you're talking about, the people taking over apartment complexes. They're just doing what they did in their own country. They don't know any better.
Boldly, brazenly, and then you have a governor like you had in Colorado.
Right.
Just a few miles away on Colfax. I have guardian angels that will patrol Colfax in Denver. Yeah. You see them all out there. Yeah. They're holding up the local thugs. You got enough local thugs. They're intimidating the local thugs. They have gang tattoos. Right. You can see them. Local law enforcement knows who they are. And then you have a governor that says, oh, this is all made up. This doesn't exist. Hey, how about scraping the barnacles off your backside, Governor? Go down to these apartment complexes, see for yourself. It's not made up.
And pictures don't lie. They have them all on the video.
AK-47s, AR-15s, like an invading army.
No. It's like it's a different country.
Knocking on doors. You pay the rent to us now. We own the building.
You know, it goes back to people come here to this country for a better life. Don't bring your problems to our country.
Exactly.
And they're trying to change our country.
Well, now, and this is the other thing that people don't understand. We arrest the Venezuelan bad hombres, as Trump called them, gangbangers who've committed crime. Mm-hmm. They go through our system. They do time. You can't deport them to Venezuela. Those countries will not accept them. Nicaragua won't accept them. Cuba, Haiti can't because they don't even have a functioning government. A guy named Barbecue runs the biggest gang there. So those 4 countries, as much as you'd like to say deport them, those countries are not taking them back. You have to have a reciprocal agreement, or you can't get on an air flight to Caracas. So, well, we're sending him back. He did 8 years, for robbery. No, they don't take him.
That's why
they're here forever.
That's why you got to stop them at the border. Stop them at the border.
Exactly.
That's why this open border makes no sense.
Now,
to anybody in this country.
George, having the knowledge you do, President Donald Trump has said he's going to deport 8 million or more. I know you never.
No, he's not going to do that. And let me tell you something. Yeah. When we were in Binghamton, I sat down with President Trump and I said to him, "Let's not. There's a lot of good people out there. Let's deport the bad people first." Right. And he agreed. And when he spoke at the Economic Club, that's what he said. Let's deport the criminals ASAP.
Correct.
And worry about the rest of them later.
Now, my question to you, John, understanding this, if you go by St. Patrick's Cathedral to say a prayer, you see the old Venezuelan consulate. Still got the flag outside, but it's all boarded up. You can't deport them to Venezuela. Now, what Trump may do is make a deal with Maduro, like he made a deal in Mexico.
Yeah.
He's a deal maker.
Right. You'll have to make a deal for them to accept their own citizens back. After they've done time here, they have to do time here. Mm-hmm. And after they get released, hopefully to ICE, not in our area, they never inform ICE, well, we just got a guy that did 2 years up in Plattsburgh and we're releasing him. Nope, they don't tell ICE. Yeah, they don't tell ICE.
And that I don't understand that at all. I don't get it. I don't understand what
we become a sanctuary for criminals, and they know that.
Yeah, and
that's going to change. But it's only going to change if Trump is the president.
Sure.
Yeah.
So November 5th. I mean, like I said, the American people have to make a decision. What do they want America to look like?
When we return, though, more discussion with George V. about ICE, about immigration naturalization, and about legal immigration, which we all agree America needs. But illegal immigration will destroy us. In fact, isn't that what Eric Adams said?
Yeah.
This will destroy us. Yeah. One of the few things I've agreed with him on, it will destroy us.
You know, folks, the whole world is talking about Bitcoin. Want to know why? Maybe it's because Bitcoin rose in value over 150% last year, and this is just the beginning. Bitcoin is online investing that anyone can do. Visit bitcoinuniversity.org today. Take a master class. Download the Book of Bitcoin and take your investment portfolio to the next level. Visit bitcoinuniversity.org and discover all that a Bitcoin can do for you. That's bitcoinuniversity.org, bitcoinuniversity.org.